The automated installation of Windows XP is called an unattended installation. You do not have to respond to the prompts from the setup program as you would during an attended installation. This process is much more efficient than an attended installation and is useful when installing Windows XP with the standardized settings on a large number of computers. You can automate the installation process for Windows XP Professional using a number of methods: answer files, uniqueness database files UDF, ghosting, remote installation services RIS. An answer file is a text file that allows you to supply configuration setting information that you would normally enter when you are setting up computers. This file determines how Windows XP interacts with other files at software distribution points. If the Windows XP setup program requires any answers that are not provided in the answer file, it will pause and prompt for the answer. This allows for a completely or partially unattended installation of Windows XP. You can provide any name for the answer file, for example, unattend.txt. However, when you are installing Windows XP Professional from a bootable CD-ROM, you need to name it winnt.sys. A UDF is used in conjunction with answer files to deploy the operating system to multiple computers. It contains answers to questions that need to be answered differently for different computers. Suppose, for example, you want to provide each computer that you are installing Windows XP on with a different computer name. In this case, you would need to use a UDF because it provides replacement settings, such as individual computer names. You can use a floppy disk or a shared network folder to deploy UDFs to client computers. Ghosting refers to the process where an operating system is installed on a base computer and a third-party ghosting program is used to create an image of that operating system. This ghost image can then be deployed to several other computers that are similarly configured as the base computer. With ghosting, Windows XP will have to be reactivated on each computer it was ghosted to. This is because Windows XP forces a reactivation whenever it detects that more than 3 hardware components have changed. RIS is a tool that enables you to deploy Windows XP on Active Directory network environments. To do this, you need to use RIS on a Windows domain controller or server to distribute Windows XP to the computers. For RIS to work, you need to use a specialized network adapter that allows a computer to reboot and locate the RIS server. This is called pre-boot execution. You can use a RIS boot disk as an alternative for a computer whose network adapter does not support pre-boot execution. This enables the computer to connect to the RIS server, download a RIS image, and install the image. What are the methods you can use to perform unattended installation of Windows XP? You can create or modify answer files using either a text editor such as Microsoft Notepad or the Windows XP Setup Manager, setupmgr.exe. The Windows Setup Manager allows you to create or modify answer files without needing to type code in a text editor. Suppose you want to create an answer file for the purpose of an unattended installation of Windows XP Professional. Your first step in creating an answer file is to create a directory on the root of a computer's system drive, for example, unattend deploy. You will need to place the Windows XP deployment tools in this directory. The deployment tools files are located in the deploy.cab file, which is in the Support Tools directory on the Windows XP Professional CD. You double-click the deploy.cab file and copy the contents to the unattend deploy directory. Once you have extracted the files for the Setup Manager wizard onto your hard drive, you double-click the setupmgr.exe program to launch the Windows Setup Manager wizard. In the Welcome page of the Windows Setup Manager wizard, you can begin creating or modifying an answer file by clicking Next. In the New or Existing Answer File page, you can choose to create a new answer file or modify an existing one. In this case, you ensure that the default Create a New Answer File radio button is selected and click Next. In the Product to Install page, you choose the installation product that you need to use. You ensure that the default Windows Unattended Installation radio button is selected and click Next. In the Platform page, you can select the platform that you want to install and for which you want to create an answer file. In this case, you select the Windows XP Professional radio button and click Next. In the User Interaction Level page, you can select the level of user interaction that can occur during the Windows XP installation process. If the Provide Defaults option is selected, then an unattended Windows XP installation is performed, in which the answers you provide are considered as the default responses to the setup program. During the installation process, you can review the answer defaults and interrupt the setup program to change them if necessary. With the Fully Automated option, you are not prompted to answer any of the setup questions. The setup program will take all the answers from the answer file. This means that you cannot interrupt the setup program or change any of the options. The Hide Pages option hides the wizard pages during setup when all answers have been supplied. The Read Only option enables you to view the wizard pages during the setup process, but you cannot make any changes to them. The GUI Attended option only automates the text mode portion of the Windows XP install process. In the User Interaction Level page, you can choose the option where you want to provide all the necessary answers and not be prompted by the setup program. To do this, select the Fully Automated radio button and click Next. The Distribution Folder page of the wizard allows you to specify whether you want the installation to run from CD or from a distribution folder. A benefit of using a distribution folder is that you can add a variety of files to this folder to further customize the setup of network users' computers. In this case, you want to run the setup program unattended from the Windows XP CD, so you select the No, this answer file will be used to install from a CD radio button and click Next. In the License Agreement page, you accept the terms of the EULA by clicking the I accept the terms of the license agreement checkbox and clicking Next. The Windows Setup Manager now enables you to customize an installation of Windows XP Professional. You can access sets of related configuration options by selecting the options that you want to specify. You can navigate to specific sections to access groups of settings from a directory structure. There are 3 categories that you can customize settings for. In the General Settings category, you can specify settings such as the default name and the organization name. You can alter the Windows XP default display settings and configure the correct time zones. In the Providing the Product Key section, you need to provide a volume license key, which does not require activation for each copy of Windows XP Professional you install. However, if you do not have a volume key, you need to supply a separate product key for each client on which you install Windows XP Professional. The Network Settings category contains settings that allow you to configure a computer in a workgroup or a domain, and to specify the networking components to be installed. You can provide the name of the computer, or you can tell the setup program to generate a computer name. You can also provide an administrative password. In the Networking Components section, you can specify the network components that you want to install on the computer. and the Workgroup or Domain section enables you to specify a workgroup or domain for the computer to join. In the Advanced Settings category, you can configure settings such as the location and telephone system details, default regional settings, and additional languages, and you can customize the browser functionality and appearance for the computer on which you install Windows XP. The Installation Folder section enables you to specify the folder in which the destination computer will store the Windows XP Professional files after installation, and you use the Install Printers section to specify the printers to be installed. You use the Run Once section to set the commands that you want to run once upon installation, and the Additional Commands page enables you to specify any additional commands that are to be run after the setup of Windows XP, but before a user logs on to the computer. You can now specify the unattended installation options in the 3 categories of the Windows Setup Manager, as if you were providing them at each prompt of the attended Windows XP installation setup prompt. You carry out the following steps: customizing the general settings, customizing the network settings, customizing the advanced settings. Once you have stepped through the wizard, the Windows Setup Manager dialog box informs you that an answer file has been created, and you need to specify a file name and location to save it. You accept the default C unattend deploy unattend.txt location and click OK. You then close the Windows Setup Manager by selecting File, Exit.